The second morning after barely 5 hours of marriage, before dawn, my mother-in-law started banging on the door like a madwoman. I kicked my husband's butt, and he went to open it. She immediately stormed in, yanked off my blanket, scaring me into screaming my head off. She threw clothes at me, her face dark and furious. "Get up now, I have something to say." I was still disoriented, my husband silent. In the living room, my in-laws sat primly on the sofa like ancient emperors. Just as I was about to sit down, my mother-in-law suddenly roared, "Did I tell you to sit? Adults speak, inferiors stand, truly no manners at all." I glanced at my husband, who had already sat down. He instantly sprang up, silently standing beside me. "Kira, you are now married into our family, you are one of us. You must be virtuous, well-behaved, and polite. Otherwise, people will criticize me." My mother-in-law spoke passionately, spittle flying, leaving me utterly dumbfounded. "But Victor is the one who married into my family, isn't he?" "No way, mother-in-law, you haven't forgotten, have you? My name is Kira. After graduating, I focused on my career and only decided to marry at 32 after a blind date. My husband is much younger, only 27. I actually found him a bit old, but my mother said older men are more mature. Marrying someone too young would mean I'd have to pamper him, perhaps even become his mother. Oh well, the main thing was he was quite handsome, 1.87 meters tall, a junior from my university. A little envy is good. I also wanted children, and his family was pressuring him to marry and find someone to settle down with. We clicked instantly. He agreed to marry me. Not only did I not ask for a dowry, but I also gave him 500,000 yuan as a betrothal gift. Our marital home was an apartment I had bought beforehand, a spacious place in the city center, also in a top school district, ready to move in. I'm a busy person who prefers simplicity, so we didn't have a wedding, just registered our marriage. Victor's family wouldn't have it. He said they didn't care how we did things on our side, but in their hometown they had to have a banquet. I was speechless. I'd never seen a family so eager to marry off their son. But no matter, I cooperated. To my surprise, his family organized it like a wedding where the bride's family pays. Oh well, it wasn't much. To save Victor's face, I didn't explain. After all, I didn't know his relatives, and we probably wouldn't interact much afterward, whatever they wanted. On our wedding night, we slept in the bridal room Victor's family prepared. Unexpectedly, early the next morning before dawn, my mother-in-law was already banging on the door. I kicked Victor out of bed and told him to open it, thinking something serious had happened. It turned out my mother-in-law stormed into the room and yanked off my blanket. It was our wedding night, and anyone could guess Victor was handsome. I naturally couldn't resist, so I was completely naked under the covers. Being suddenly exposed, of course, I shrieked. My mother-in-law's face was grim, very fierce, as she roared at me, "You shameless hussy. Get up now, I have something to say to you." She went out, and Victor stood by the door like a timid little wife. His mother had just treated me like that, and he didn't utter a single word. Right then, I knew I could only rely on myself. Oh well, isn't the wife one spent money to marry meant to be pampered? I gestured for him to get clothes. "This queen wants to see what tricks your mother has up her sleeve." Victor, this little wife, was good in every way, except he was too submissive. When his friend introduced him to me, he said, "This guy is good at everything, but he's weak-willed and always bullied by his family. Especially his mother, who calls him every day to demand money for his spoiled younger brother." He graduated and earned over 200,000 yuan a year, yet he hadn't saved a single cent and was even forced by his mother to take out high-interest loans. So, from the beginning, I didn't expect him to stand up for me. I could only rely on myself. Victor and I walked into the living room. My in-laws were already sitting primly on the sofa like ancient emperors. Their spoiled younger son sat beside them, legs crossed, grinning as he scrutinized me. Yesterday, at the wedding, he had boasted to his friends, "Nothing tastes better than dumplings, nothing is more fun than a sister-in-law. You all just wait. Sooner or later, I'll show you how much fun a sister-in-law can be. Too bad my sister-in-law doesn't have any sisters." His voice was quite loud. I didn't know if he was deliberately saying it for me or for Victor. Either way, Victor's face was very grim all evening. I didn't care. As a businesswoman, I'd heard far worse at banquets. "Did I tell you to sit? Adults speak, inferiors stand, truly no manners at all." Just as I was about to sit down, my mother-in-law suddenly roared. I looked at Victor, who had already sat down. He immediately sprang up, silently standing beside me. Kira, you are now married into our family. You are one of us. You must be virtuous, well-behaved, and polite. Otherwise, people will criticize me. My mother-in-law spoke passionately, spittle flying, leaving me utterly dumbfounded. But Victor is the one who married into my family, isn't he? No way, mother-in-law, you haven't forgotten, have you? That was all just to trick your parents. Women follow their husbands and a daughter follows her husband. You've married into our family, so you belong to our family. Even if you die, you'll be a ghost of our family. Understand? Now, first, transfer 1 million yuan to Jaden to buy a car. And since you're the elder sister-in-law, you also need to take care of Jaden's wedding. We're not asking for much, just buy Jaden a house in the same apartment complex where you live. My mother-in-law was still spewing saliva, while my father-in-law on the other side grinned, revealing his yellow teeth. So I'm just a juicy piece of meat, easy to devour, huh? They spoke as if it was a given, ordering me with certainty. I still sat down, crossed my legs, leaned back on the sofa, and crooked my finger. Victor immediately understood, came closer, and massaged my shoulders. What are you doing? My mother-in-law's face instantly changed. She leaned forward as if she was about to pounce and tear me apart. Just then, the doorbell rang. My husband went to open the door. My cousin Sophia led a crowd of 3 aunts and 6 grandmothers from the village, surging in. What are you all doing? This time, not only my mother-in-law, but also my father-in-law's face changed. Your daughter-in-law invited us to hear some gossip, so here we are. We're all acquaintances, after all. The speaker was father-in-law's Aunt Lena, the village's intelligence chief. My cousin Sophia hadn't attended the wedding yesterday, but she hadn't been idle either, going house to house distributing red envelopes, familiarizing herself with all the village relationships. Come here, everyone. Watch this video and help me judge. I turned on the TV and mirrored my phone screen. This color TV was mine, deliberately chosen for its full HD and screen mirroring function. The footage was from my villa. My in-laws had brought my husband to my house to discuss the betrothal gift. They immediately demanded 500,000 yuan, claiming it wasn't easy to raise a 985 university student. They said that after he married into my family, he would be part of my family. Any children born would take my surname, which was equivalent to my family gaining a son for free. It turned out they weren't marrying a wife, but marrying off a son. The villagers started whispering. My mother-in-law's face turned beet red. She yelled at me, "What are you showing? Turn it off right now. Don't embarrass us." I made an "oh" sound. I turned it off and then asked my mother-in-law, "What did you say earlier about tricking my parents? Women follow their husbands, a daughter follows her husband. In our village, which woman isn't like that? Why should you be an exception?" My mother-in-law declared grandly. Father-in-law's Aunt Lena next to her immediately couldn't stand it. "Teresa, you can't say that. Marrying a husband is for food and clothing. Ask anyone in our village, which family doesn't spend hundreds of thousands to marry a wife? Like me, a few years ago, I married a wife for my son. The betrothal gift alone was 200,000, and I still had to buy a car and a house. The girl's family in the town even complained and wanted to move to the city. Your family even made the bride's family pay for the wedding banquet. How can you shamelessly talk about women follow their husbands?" Exactly. If he's marrying into the family, he should act like it. Teresa, you're not trying to renege on the deal, are you? This is marriage fraud. Our village doesn't allow this. Marriage fraud? Call the police and get the village chief here. The 3 aunts and 6 grandmothers burst into an uproar, even more agitated than I was. My cousin Sophia made a heart gesture at me. I smiled. Money truly solves everything. "Victor, say something." My mother-in-law was still wary of the crowd of aunts, looking coldly at my husband. At this moment, Victor was cowering beside me like a quail. Now, he retreated even further behind me, tugging at my sleeve, exactly like a timid bride about to be bullied. I couldn't help it. I liked this type. I took his hand, my voice neither hot nor cold. "Married into our family, he is naturally one of us. If he speaks, it's on behalf of our family. As for these outsiders, Grandma, don't confuse black and white." Aunt Lena burst out laughing. Catching my sharp gaze, she immediately chimed in, Exactly. "Victor, are you just going to let your wife run wild like this?" My mother-in-law was anxious, her face red as she yelled at her son. Father-in-law also shouted, "Rebellion, this is rebellion, truly rebellious. Even during famine, no one would set prices as high as you. Why do you think that once I'm married, I'm just a pig in your house to be slaughtered whenever you please? I am a businesswoman. I never fight a battle unprepared." The doorbell rang again. Aunt Lena ran to open it. It was my company's legal team, led by Mr. Lee, a lawyer who had never lost a case, known as Ghost Slayer in the industry. The prenuptial agreement, drafted by his own hand, was now placed before everyone. Fearing my mother-in-law wouldn't understand, the legal team even prepared a PowerPoint presentation, projecting it onto the TV and explaining each clause. This is Ms. Kira's prenuptial asset certificate. All assets under her name, whether before or after marriage, and any profits earned, are unrelated to Mr. Victor. And Mr. Victor has no assets under his name. He has also committed to resigning after marriage to fully support Ms. Kira as a devoted husband. Therefore, if there is a divorce, Mr. Victor will leave empty-handed. What? You're going to resign? So, the 280,000 yuan you bring home every year, you won't anymore. My in-laws and even the younger brother immediately panicked. I told you not to rush. There's more. This is a clause regarding supporting both sets of parents. Although the law does not require spouses to support each other's parents, considering Mr. Victor will have no economic income after marriage, Ms. Kira, to maintain conjugal affection, agrees to provide Mr. Victor's parents with an allowance of 20,000 yuan per year. 20,000? Are you giving alms to a beggar? The brother-in-law was absolutely right. I was giving alms to a beggar. The legal team ignored them and continued. Due to Mr. Victor's family's lack of credibility, Ms. Kira's supplementary clause regarding the betrothal gift clearly states, if Mr. Victor regrets and requests to withdraw from the marrying into the family agreement, the betrothal gift must be compensated double, and 10 million yuan in emotional damages must be paid to the female party. What in the devil is this? We didn't sign it. Father-in-law was the first to jump up. I smiled. You didn't sign it, my husband did. Anyway, he's responsible, you don't need to worry. Victor, are you crazy? Father-in-law pointed at his nose, scolding him. Are you intentionally colluding with this woman to drive us to our deaths? Victor said nothing, squeezing my hand tightly, raising his head to look at his father. His eyes were red-rimmed, looking incredibly pitiful, making one want to push him onto the bed and take a bite. But the supplementary clause was indeed proposed by him. As expected, no one knows a son better than his father. You're swindling us, we knew nothing about these things. Mother-in-law was so agitated her eyes were red. She jumped up and lunged forward, wanting to tear the agreement in the legal team's hands. I smiled, letting her tear it. It's just a copy, there are many more. At that moment, I wanted to move several boxes over for her to tear to her heart's content. Oh my heavens, I painstakingly raised my son, worked hard to get him through university and even master's degree. Now he's colluding with outsiders to bully me. I don't want to live anymore. Let me die, let me die. Mother-in-law started wailing and throwing a tantrum. Her mouth said she wanted to die, but she sat on the ground, slapping her thighs. You should speak with a conscience. My husband went to university, and his tuition and living expenses were all covered by part-time jobs and student loans. Every year, he had to give you tens of thousands. During his master's degree, he sent home no less than 100,000 or 200,000 a year. Where did you work hard from? I've investigated thoroughly. Victor, though somewhat weak-willed, is by no means incompetent. His annual salary alone is no less than 200,000 yuan, and all other allowances all went to this family. Not to mention, this 3-story house in the village was built by Victor. Yet, the property deed is in his younger brother's name. He doesn't even have a room. Even when he wasn't living here, this family would call him from afar, incessantly demanding money, even wanting him to take out high-interest loans. I don't care. My son now earns at least 2 to 3 million a year. You think 500,000 can buy him off? Dream on. My mother-in-law pointed at my nose and roared. How amusing, I am a businesswoman. If a deal isn't profitable, would I pursue it? 500,000? Look, we don't need it anymore. Victor, leave this woman. Mother-in-law grew even angrier seeing me smile, wanting nothing more than to tear me apart. But the 8 or 9 male lawyers standing beside me exuded too much power. She didn't dare to move, only able to helplessly scream at her son. "Madam, I must remind you. If you breach the contract, not only will you have to compensate double the betrothal gift, but also 10 million yuan in emotional damages to Ms. Kira. That's a total of 11 million yuan. Are you sure you want to compensate?" The legal team was indeed formidable. 11 million? She was stunned. "Anyway, we didn't sign that agreement, we don't acknowledge it. Victor, divorce your wife." Father-in-law was still stubborn. The legal team continued. "Whether you signed it or not is irrelevant. We will only claim compensation from Mr. Victor. If he cannot pay, we will ask the bank to freeze all his assets. Afterward, every job he takes, every income he earns will be transferred directly to Ms. Kira until the full 11 million, principal and interest, is repaid." "Teresa, Richard, don't make trouble anymore. They have money and influence, how can you fight them? Don't let it get to the point where you can't even keep the 5,000 yuan from selling your son." Father-in-law's Aunt Lena next to them burst out laughing. This statement was like hot oil poured into water, immediately boiling over. "Exactly. Anyway, 500,000 yuan for the betrothal gift isn't little. Other families marrying off daughters don't get that much, let alone someone marrying into the family. You all talk without hurting your backs. Our Victor earns 2 to 3 million a year. What's 500,000? Mother-in-law roared in anger. Father-in-law's Aunt Lena just laughed again. "Now you see the disadvantage. Why didn't you think about it before?" Mother-in-law was so angry she couldn't speak, or perhaps too ashamed. "Let me speak. Before, she intended to trick me into the family, then set rules to control me. First, give 1 million to this golden-haired boy to buy a car, and then she wanted to buy him a multi-million villa. Tusk, 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 truly daring to dream. Is this letting go of the chicken to catch the duck, losing both the bait and the catch? Isn't it? They thought they were releasing a cub to catch a wolf, but the cub ran away with the wolf instead. Oh heavens, Teresa, your Victor is so promising. Why do you only favor the youngest? Even if Victor isn't your biological son, you can't do that." Father-in-law's Aunt Lena's slip of the tongue immediately turned me into a gossip enthusiast in a melon field. Victor wasn't his mother-in-law's biological son? Aunt Lena, father-in-law, was clearly anxious. Victor was also clearly unaware, looking bewildered. I just gave a glance, and my cousin Sophia immediately handed over a large red envelope. Father-in-law's Aunt Lena immediately grinned from ear to ear. "Oh, back then, they hid it because they were afraid Victor would feel uncomfortable. Now that you've all let Victor marry into the family, why hide it anymore? Besides, you can't blame Teresa for this. Victor's mother died in childbirth. He was just a tiny baby then. How would a man like your brother know how to care for a child? So Teresa would come over every few days to help care for Victor. After a while, it was natural for them to get together. Victor, even though you weren't born of your mother's womb, she didn't treat you badly. Look how well you're living now, a university student who married a rich wife. Father and mother just want you to help your younger brother a little. Isn't that too much?" Mother-in-law, who had just been crying tragically, now spoke in a slightly weaker tone, trying to reason. "Indeed, it's not too much, just forcing Victor to take out high-interest loans, right? I've already said it, they're all biological children, let alone the youngest who sometimes can't make sense of things. As a mother, no matter how biased, you can't push a capable child to their death. Teresa, you're forcing Victor to take out high-interest loans. How dare you do that? Richard, do you agree with this too? Are you worthy of Victor's mother?" The aunts and grandmothers immediately became indignant. Their fingers almost poked into the in-laws' noses, especially father-in-law's Aunt Lena, who even clapped. "Even if Victor's mother died early and he had no one to rely on, you still can't bully him like this. This isn't bullying, this is pushing him to his death. When I met Victor, he was about to jump off a building. Luckily, I pulled him back and didn't let him jump. I seized the opportunity to add fuel to the fire." The women grew even more indignant. Father-in-law's Aunt Lena even made a call on the spot. "Old Ben, your sister's child who lost his mother early is now being bullied to death by his stepmother. Are you going to do something about it?" "Aunt Lena, you can't do that." Father-in-law was anxious, reaching out to snatch Aunt Lena's phone, but she dodged. The other women immediately surrounded him. Father-in-law was pushed back, only able to jump up. "This is our family matter, it's not your business." People say if there's a stepmother, there's a stepfather. You heartless man, colluding with your wife to bully him like this, if we don't intervene, what kind of world would this be? The aunts fought fiercely, each pulling out their phones and starting to call people. I watched, amused, glancing at Victor. Catching his pitiful puppy dog eyes, my heart immediately melted. I squeezed his hand. Don't worry, I'll get justice for you. After all, a husband must be protected by his wife. I also called people. After all, at this moment, a crowd was needed to create an imposing atmosphere, and besides, I had nothing but people. I called the security team from my real estate company directly, over 100 people in total, and deliberately told them to drive a large truck. If things went south, they should just haul away all the furniture I bought. When the security team arrived, the village chief was also alerted. The living room was too small, so we moved directly to the courtyard. Under the witness of the village chief and the village party secretary, we began negotiations. First, presenting the prenuptial agreement. I regret it, I shouldn't have let you marry into the family and marry this devouring woman. Divorce her quickly, I'll introduce you to someone better. As I was talking to the village chief, my mother-in-law pulled Victor aside and whispered. I shot him a glance. Victor immediately fell silent and moved next to me, his voice very soft but firm. I won't divorce, not even in death. Truly a stepmother, trying to incite a divorce when the couple is living happily. How can a person be so heartless? Exactly. Aren't you afraid Victor's mother will come back to haunt her? I tell you, Victor's mother died early, otherwise there would be no Teresa. The aunts whispered amongst themselves. Mother-in-law's face alternated between red and white, glaring at me with vicious eyes as if wanting to chop me into 100 pieces. How amusing. In the business world, there are far more ruthless people than her, and I still handle them perfectly fine. Richard, Teresa, I've seen this agreement. You both agreed to let Victor marry into the family, accepted the betrothal gift, and the wedding is done. It's not right to regret it now. The village chief smiled subtly, but his tone was full of authority. Father-in-law's Aunt Lena told me the village chief was highly respected in the village. As long as he stood up to preside over justice, my in-laws wouldn't dare to pull any tricks. But village chief, 500,000 yuan to buy off our Victor. That's too cheap for her. Our Victor earns 2 to 3 million a year, she should at least add more money. My in-laws were indeed no longer causing a ruckus as before, their attitude humble, acting amenable to negotiation. Only their words were truly unpleasant to hear. What do they mean? Earns 2 to 300,000 a year, needs more money? So, they're openly setting a price to sell my husband right in front of him. I glanced at Victor. He was also looking at me, his eyes red-rimmed, pitiful like a big dog about to be sold. What should I do? This puppy dog gaze only, I am allowed to bully him. Anyone dares to lay a finger on him, I'll chop that finger off. So I slammed the table. Village chief, human trafficking is illegal. Ask them how much they want to sell Victor to me for and let the legal team assess. Based on that amount, can they get life imprisonment or the death penalty? Human trafficking? What human trafficking? We just want a little more betrothal money. Mother-in-law was immediately terrified. I also laughed. I remember there's a local regulation prohibiting high betrothal gifts, isn't there, village chief? I'm sure this regulation applies to both men and women, right? So, is the 500,000 betrothal gift I gave violating it? Should they return the money to me? Hey, why are you saying one thing and doing another? 500,000 is already little, and you want it back. Mother-in-law jumped up, and father-in-law also glared angrily. If not for fearing the village chief, they probably would have slammed their thighs and wailed. But so what? I'm a businesswoman, naturally aiming for maximum profit. Initially, I wanted to save my husband's face, but now it seems that face is unnecessary. Since they've shown their true colors, I don't want a single cent to be lost. But I still asked Victor for his opinion. Do you think we should get that 500,000 back? You decide, it's fine. Victor's face was flushed, his voice meek but very firm. I immediately smiled. This man is truly a treasure, obedient and compliant. He's truly the devoted husband I've always dreamed of. Victor, even though I'm not your biological mother, you should still remember the hardship I went through raising you this big. How can you marry a wife and forget your mother, not only not helping your younger brother, but also demanding back the betrothal gift? Mother-in-law started wiping tears, telling her woes. From the moment Victor's birth mother died in childbirth, to how she, a pure maiden, saw the pitiful father and son, coming to their house every other day to carry Victor around begging for milk. Even when Victor went to kindergarten and was bullied, she carried her younger son to demand justice for Victor. Well, Teresa, is that how you treat my nephew? The person father-in-law's Aunt Lena called had arrived. As soon as he entered, he roared, "If you weren't so shameless as to offer yourself, painstakingly coaxing Victor to call you mother, what right would you have to marry Richard and seize my sister's inheritance?" "Brother, why are you here?" Father-in-law immediately ran to greet him, smiling apologetically, offering a cigarette. "Let's talk slowly. Slowly, how? If your Aunt Lena hadn't told me, Victor would have been tortured to death by you too. I, his maternal uncle, thought you were taking good care of my nephew." Uncle Ben seemed to be a person of considerable influence, only nodding a greeting to the village chief. His eyes finally rested on Victor, his lips moved but he said nothing, then turned to mother-in-law. "You continue. I want to hear how you took care of my nephew." Mother-in-law seemed to have been struck dumb, her lips trembling, helplessly looking at father-in-law. Victor whispered in my ear, "Uncle Ben, I met him a few times when I was little. He never talked to me, just came to give money to my dad or brought a lot of things and left. I never knew he was my biological uncle." Uncle Ben had gone abroad with his parents over 10 years ago. This time, he had specifically returned for Victor's wedding. Aunt Lena, standing nearby, heard Victor's whisper and said, "Don't blame your uncle, nephew. Your mother died in childbirth. They were very heartbroken. The main thing is they didn't know your father and stepmother were bullying you like this. Don't mention them, even we didn't know. Your stepmother is two-faced. On the surface, she seemed to treat you well. 60 kilometers to go to university, 60 kilometers to get a master's degree, who would have known her heart was so dark? Forcing you to take out high-interest loans. It's a long story. The main thing is this daughter-in-law Victor married is terrible. She even signed a prenuptial agreement, forcing our Victor to resign to wash clothes and cook for her. You tell me, Victor is a man, how can he resign and stay home to serve a woman?" Father-in-law's voice was not small, directly shifting the blame. Truly incorrigible. I saw that Uncle Ben still seemed to care deeply about our Victor, so I immediately stood up and walked over. "Uncle Ben, hello, I am Victor's wife. You can just call me Kira. Regarding that prenuptial agreement was forced by your son to sign." "The prenuptial agreement was forced by me to sign?" Victor suddenly interrupted me, pointing at all of them. "Every single clause in it was proposed by me personally, and I consulted with a lawyer to confirm it was protected by law before signing." "You got a master's degree just to come home and wash clothes and cook for your wife." Uncle Ben looked bewildered. Father-in-law spoke even more, "You've truly disgraced us." "Actually, I didn't want to get a master's degree, and I didn't want to earn money even more, because whatever money I earned, I gave to my younger brother. I'd rather go home and wash clothes and cook for my wife. At least she supports me and gives me pocket money." Victor pulled out his phone, looking very smug. "This was a gift from my wife, it's cutting edge, see." Uncle Ben's mouth twitched. Father-in-law's old face twisted to the extreme. "I've never seen you so shameless. You're a freeloader and you're proud of it." "So what if I'm a freeloader? Aren't you all freeloading off me? This house was built by me, the interior furniture was all my money. Even the appliances and electronics were bought by my wife. You tell me, over the years, every single penny you spent, wasn't it taken from me? Freeloading off me, yet you dare to lecture me and my wife, setting your own rules, acting superior while freeloading, even more shameless." Victor spoke very fast, but every word was sharp. Only the hand holding mine was very tight. I could feel he was extremely tense, but he still stood in front of me, bravely defending me for the first time. "Honey, you're so handsome." I tiptoed and whispered in his ear. His face flushed, his ears turning deep red. If there weren't so many people, I would have taken a bite. Look, with so many people here, he's already so shameless. Who knows what else he does behind closed doors? Victor signed that agreement, so that agreement is absolutely invalid. This kind of woman won't be allowed into my house." Mother-in-law started her tricks again. "Even if I'm not Victor's biological mother, raising him for so long, he should be filial to me. Now, I have married into my wife's family. Mother, you also agreed to let me marry into the family. The 500,000 betrothal gift I've already transferred to you, and this entire house was given to my younger brother. I didn't take a single cent. Can't you just let me go? Do you have to force me to my death?" Victor's eyes were red-rimmed again. Who knows how much courage it took for him to say these words. I squeezed his hand, looking at that old woman. "I wouldn't even step foot into your house. But you're right, your nurturing of Victor was indeed great. That's why Victor compensated your biological son with so much money. Or perhaps we should calculate if you raising Victor was a profit or a loss." "Teresa, you calculate carefully. I want to hear too." Uncle Ben was truly a powerful helper. Mother-in-law's lips trembled again, her eyes pleading with father-in-law. But before father-in-law could open his mouth, Uncle Ben spoke again. "Are you too old to calculate? I'll calculate for you. That year, my sister brought 100,000 yuan in dowry when she married Richard. Not to mention, the foundation of your house was bought by my sister. And those dozens of acres of rubber forest were also planted by my sister. Richard started with nothing. Thanks to my sister, he became the first person in the village to live in a multi-story house, with an annual income from rubber not less than 200,000 yuan. If you weren't so shameless, getting pregnant with Richard when he was drunk, could you have entered this house?" Uncle Ben was truly amazing. I immediately transformed into a melon-eating bystander, unable to resist asking, "Pregnant before marriage?" "Exactly, she showed up at the house with a pregnant belly, causing a scene, insisting Richard marry her. Because of this, I even beat Richard up. Victor was barely 2 months old then, crying inconsolably, and only recognized Teresa. I had no choice but to agree to let her into the house." That was truly the pinnacle of drama. Mother-in-law's face went from red to white, but she didn't dare to argue. I actually felt incredibly smug. My mouth wouldn't stop curling up into a smile. She couldn't give birth, finally gave up, and forced out the most radiant smile. "Mother-in-law, you truly are a master. Unlike me, I don't know these tricks. I only know how to throw money around." "Wife, I don't have money, but I'm still willing to marry into your family." Victor's flushed face squeezed in a sentence. He truly moved me to tears. Such a timid person, how much courage did it take to say such sweet words in front of everyone? I really wanted to take a bite out of him. At that time, I said I would take Victor abroad. It was you, Richard, who insisted that Victor was a descendant of the Wang family and would definitely be treated well. Teresa also said she would treat him like her own child. That's why I left Victor with you. Is this how you say you treated Victor well? Uncle Ben was very angry, and the consequences were very serious. He directly confronted Richard. "The 3 million I gave Victor for his wedding, did you give it to him?" "There was another 3 million? I was astonished. Uncle Ben is so generous. How much money does he just throw around? But then again, his sister had a 100,000 yuan dowry back then, which would be millions now, wouldn't it?" Don't worry, don't worry." Uncle Ben's face darkened, demanding the money, his aura making it seem like he would hit them if they didn't pay. I pulled my husband back a step. Business people only move their mouths, not their hands. When someone else starts to use their hands, you must immediately step out of the danger zone and turn into a spectator. But I still stood with Uncle Ben. At my signal, the security captain led over 10 men to stand behind Uncle Ben. A battle was about to erupt. My in-laws and the younger brother were completely overwhelmed by my side's momentum, their faces clearly showing fear. Father-in-law turned to mother-in-law. "Isn't the card with you?" I. Mother-in-law's eyes pleaded with the younger brother. I immediately understood. The card had been given to the younger brother. "If you don't hand over the money, I'll call the police for fraud." Uncle Ben had already picked up his phone. The chief lawyer enthusiastically explained the law. The amount involved is 3 million. The starting sentence is 10 years in prison. "Where's the money? Hand it over quickly." Father-in-law was anxious. It seemed Uncle Ben was a man of his word. Father-in-law was very afraid of him. "Jaden, you hand over the money first. In a few days, Mom will." Mother-in-law pulled her younger son and whispered. Uncle Ben's face grew even darker. My cousin Sophia clucked her tongue. Clearly, the maternal uncle gave a big red envelope to his nephew, and with a flick of the wrist, it went to his biological son. Truly a stepmother, her heart is utterly dark. "Hurry, hand over the card." Mother-in-law tugged her younger son's arm, clearly anxious. "The money's gone." The younger son crossed his arms, looking like a dead pig unafraid of boiling water. Anyway, you all figure it out yourselves. Either send me to jail, or you two come up with a way to make up the 3 million. You, where did you spend it? This time, father-in-law couldn't sit still anymore and immediately surrounded him. Mother-in-law forced a laugh. Jaden, listen, now isn't the time to act up. You hand over the money first and mom will give it back to you in a few days, isn't that okay? I could only say mother-in-law was quite rich, casually offering 3 million. Unfortunately, Jaden didn't listen. I already said it, the money's gone, it's gone. Don't you understand human language, mother? Where did you spend it? Father-in-law asked anxiously. Jaden, of course, spent it. It was only 3 million. I swiped a few cards, treated my friends to dinner, and bought Zio some jewelry, and it was all gone. Didn't you say, mother, that once my sister-in-law is here, we'd casually get tens of millions, so why bother with 3 million? You wretched child. Father-in-law raised his hand, but mother-in-law quickly held him back. Jaden is just playful. Besides, we didn't tell him this money had to be returned. If anyone's to blame, blame me. Or call the police, send me to jail, let me die there. Victor, you tell me, do you want to call the police and arrest your mother? Mother-in-law directly questioned Victor. I immediately stood in front of Victor. Now, the person who wants to call the police to arrest you is Uncle Ben, not Victor. Why are you asking Victor? Even if Victor says he won't pursue it, can Uncle Ben let it go? I spoke while looking at Uncle Ben. Am I right, Uncle? Is it 113? I want to call the police. Someone here defrauded me of 3 million. Uncle Ben was truly formidable, saying nothing more. Brother, we can't do this. How about this? Give my husband and me a few days, and we will definitely return the money to you. Father-in-law was anxious, his hair turning gray. He turned and roared at Victor. Even if I'm not your biological mother, I raised you for so many years. Are you really going to watch me go to jail? This was an attempt to use my husband as a shield. Victor, wait for me in the car, I ordered. Victor looked at me, his eyes red-rimmed. I pinched his cheek. Be obedient. He left. He really left without looking back, as if he had made some sort of decision, leaving his mother-in-law there wailing helplessly. Victor, mother, no matter how wrong I am, I raised you for over 20 years. This woman is truly a jinx. As soon as she entered the house, the family was in turmoil. Mother-in-law pointed at my nose, scolding me. I smiled. Yes, you are a lucky star, bringing glory to your ancestors. Then I looked at Uncle Ben. My legal team is quite good at litigation, Uncle Ben. If you need anything, feel free to use them. You little slut, how dare you? Mother-in-law suddenly raised her hand to slap me. But I am a person with money. How could I let someone slap my face? What kind of business would I be doing then? Wouldn't my security personnel be fired? So, mother-in-law's slap hadn't even touched my face before my bodyguard next to me twisted her arm and pinned her to the ground. Ah, murderer! Mother-in-law screamed tragically. I rubbed my ears. Is it murder or not? Everyone here saw it. Wailing like a ghost, isn't this embarrassing? Anyway, officially she was my in-law. I squatted in front of mother-in-law, smiling at her. You tell me, why are you so foolish? If you weren't so greedy, if you didn't bully my husband, I wouldn't have to bully you in front of so many people. I snapped my fingers, and the security personnel immediately surrounded us. Now was when they were needed. All the furniture in this 3-story house was bought by me. The interior was paid for with my husband's money. In short, whatever can be moved, move it. Whatever can be smashed, smash it all for me. Over 30 security personnel rushed in. Father-in-law and the younger brother didn't dare to stop them. Mother-in-law, pinned to the ground, could only wail, "You be. Sooner or later you'll be punished by heaven. This is all mine, you're robbing me. I'll call the police and have you arrested. Victor will divorce you." Her curses grew fouler and fouler. Children were watching the commotion around. I directly took a tissue and stuffed it into her mouth. Now it was quiet. As I stood up, I noticed Uncle Ben staring at me, feeling a little awkward. I touched my nose. Next, it seems there's nothing left for my husband and me. Uncle Ben, please help yourself. Of course, if you need help, just find me. I'll be leaving now. Of course, I left. Before that, I had already left my contact information for Uncle Ben. As I left, mother-in-law was still gagging. Father-in-law and the younger brother said nothing. They were probably speechless. Victor was waiting for me in the car, obedient and quiet. When I got into the car, he looked up at me, his eyes red-rimmed, pitiful like an abandoned puppy, eager for his owner's comfort. It's okay, you still have me. I pinched his cheek, assuring him, except in bed, I will absolutely not bully you. Victor's face flushed, his ears also bright red. If the driver hadn't been there, I would have pounced on him and thoroughly bullied him. We drove straight home. As soon as the car arrived in town, Uncle Ben's call came. "Niece-in-law, you and Victor come back here to divide the assets. There are over 10 acres of rubber forest here and over 600 square meters of residential land, all belonging to you and Victor. Isn't your lawyer there? Just let him handle everything. Uncle Ben, when you have time, come to the city. Victor and I will treat you to a meal." I looked at my husband. His face was flushed, smiling shyly. Tusk, 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 this guy isn't young. Why is he still so innocent like a teenager? Luckily, I didn't give up on him because of his age initially. Anyway, he's a little puppy. As long as he's sweet, that's all that matters. We went straight to the airport. We arrived home that evening, and I immediately pushed him onto the bed. It was our wedding night, and everyone knows what that means: up, down, 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 up, until the next morning my back ached. The next morning, I received a report from the lawyer. The land and house in Victor's hometown had completed the transfer procedures, waiting only for the process to finalize before everything would belong to Victor. "Is this a real division of assets?" I informed Victor. He was very surprised. My mother agreed. My cousin Sophia was also present then. I just asked her, and she sent a video and also an audio recording. "Brother-in-law, that Uncle Ben is quite a character. I don't know who he called, but a group of gangsters in suits arrived and directly pinned your in-laws and brother-in-law to the ground. I heard they even broke an arm and threatened to castrate your brother-in-law, scaring them into screaming and not daring to say a word, signing your family's agreement directly. Your Uncle Ben is quite a character." I showed Victor the phone. He was even more incredulous. I have such a formidable uncle. Of course, now I'm a little worried. What if I bully you too much and you go tell Uncle Ben? I assessed him. The ambiguous marks on his bare skin made me smile mischievously. Indeed, this guy not only had a flushed face, but also his neck and delicate collarbones were tinged with an alluring pink. I pounced again. The next time I met Uncle Ben was that afternoon. Victor and I went to the airport to pick him up. Not only Uncle Ben, but Victor's maternal grandparents also came. All three appeared before us at once, leaving both of us stunned. I truly hadn't expected to formally meet the groom's elders again after the wedding. I immediately contacted my parents and booked a 5-star seafood hotel in the local area. My father even brought fine Maui liquor. To welcome Victor's maternal grandparents and Uncle Ben, our family prepared very meticulously and politely. My father raised his glass. "Come, come, we elders wish for these two to live in harmony and happiness and to have a precious child soon." I was so embarrassed I wanted to dig a hole and hide. I said, "Dad, can you please not urge us to have children regardless of the time and place?" Anyway, Grandpa and Grandma Lee were smiling from ear to ear. Grandpa said, "I said that so we can have great-grandchildren soon, 4 generations living under one roof." After speaking, his eyes turned red. Grandma cried even more, her voice choked. "If my daughter were still alive, how wonderful it would be. She would surely be so happy." "Mother, sister is watching from heaven, don't be sad anymore." Uncle Ben handed her a tissue and patted her back. Grandpa's eyes were red, but he said nothing. For a moment, the atmosphere was a little heavy. As a businesswoman, I naturally couldn't let the situation cool down, so I quickly raised my glass. Come, 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 let's all raise a glass to the mother-in-law who is not present here. I must thank her for giving me such a wonderful husband. Otherwise, I would surely be single my whole life." My mother almost spat out her drink. She whispered, "Who was it who complained about him being old?" She was sitting right next to me, her voice low enough, but Victor, sitting to my right, still heard it. I immediately felt a little guilty. "My mom was talking about my dad, don't misunderstand, honey." Luckily, Victor didn't mind. I glared at my mother, whispering, "Dare to sow discord between your daughter and her husband, be careful. I won't let you have grandchildren to hug." My mother immediately made a zipping motion with her hand over her mouth. On the other side, Grandma had finished wiping her tears, and with trembling hands, she took a brocade box from her bag and handed it to me. "Niece-in-law, I didn't prepare much. See if you like it. If you do, wear it." I opened it, an imperial green jade bracelet. My mother gasped, her eyes wide. "This color, this clarity, it must be at least tens of millions, right?" My mother had bought one at an auction a few months ago for over 38 million. At that time, she said it was for Victor's wedding, and she had specifically brought it. Uncle Ben looked at me, then at Victor. He seemed to hesitate for a moment but still said, "Niece-in-law, I see you treat Victor very well, but this matter of marrying into the family, I think we can discuss it again." "There's nothing to discuss," Victor was resolute. "I want to marry into this family." The atmosphere at the table immediately stiffened. I held the brocade box, unable to return it, yet unable to keep it. Finally, I silently placed it on the table. "Victor, this matter is actually our fault. We didn't make it clear to you beforehand. The main thing is, your father and stepmother are too good at disguising things, plus you were always excellent. We just thought you were living very well here, so we didn't pay much attention to you." Uncle Ben's face was full of regret. On the other side, Grandpa took out one stack of documents after another from his bag. "Victor, Grandpa has brought all the things that were originally intended for your mother here. The value is several $100 million. You truly don't need to suffer by marrying into the family. Our family also has status." I realized then this was a hangmen banquet. My parents and I exchanged glances, tacitly agreeing to remain silent. At this moment, it was naturally Victor's choice. If he annulled the contract, then divorce. I am a businesswoman. I hate people who sign a contract and then want to cancel it. "You don't have to give me these things, and you don't have to acknowledge me. In short, don't even think about extinguishing my intention to marry into this family. I've already said, I willingly married into the Kira family, not because I have no money, and certainly not because of my father and his family, but because I love my wife. I've liked her since university, liked her for 9 years, never dared to imagine I could be with her. Now that I've finally gotten to be with her, no matter who it is, don't even think about separating us." Victor's firm words astonished me. Ignoring how many people were present, I blurted out, "You liked me for 9 years? No way, brother, you're 27 this year, so you started having a crush on me at 18. When I first entered university for registration, you happened to be walking out of the school. Your eyes lingered on me and you even smiled at me. At that moment, I fell in love with you at first sight. Only later did I find out you were a master's student." Victor's face flushed again, mainly because my mother next to us was laughing too indelicately. I couldn't laugh too smugly. After all, his elders were all here. No wonder his friend went to such lengths to introduce him to me. It turned out he had been bribed. This guy even actively requested to marry into the family, and even proactively said he would compensate $10 million if the contract was canceled. It was all premeditated. "We're just suggesting, mainly to see what you want," Grandpa actively conceded. Grandma also nodded. "Yes, good grandchild, don't get too agitated. We're not here to separate you and your daughter-in-law. We're just afraid you'll suffer." "You won't suffer. Your wife treats you very well," Victor said, then suddenly squeezed my hand tightly, his tone very firm. "So, everyone, don't always think that marrying into the family means suffering. In fact, I'm getting a great deal. After all, with my wife's conditions, what kind of man couldn't she find? I'm lucky it's me." My mother, who was drinking water, immediately spat it out. I pulled Victor, a little embarrassed. All right, that's enough. You're overdoing it a bit. Actually, we can also see that your daughter-in-law treats you very well. It's just that we, the older generation, are a bit unaccustomed. If you're happy, that's what matters most. These things, we're giving them to you. You can keep them or let your daughter-in-law manage them or give them to our grandson. In short, this gesture from your elders for your little family cannot be refused." Grandpa's words were very sincere. Grandma next to him wiped tears, crying with a smile. Uncle Ben was very satisfied with Victor's performance. "Raise your glass, Uncle Ben toasts you, a man of ability and responsibility." Not just him, I was also very satisfied. My husband Victor's performance was too unexpected. After all, before this, I thought he was a weakling who could only rely on me for justice. At that moment, I had even prepared myself to flip the table. Unexpectedly, the situation became so harmonious. Grandpa, Grandma, and Uncle Ben's flight was half a month later. For those 2 weeks, I specially made time to accompany them around the city, even dragging Victor along to meet his never-before-seen biological mother's family. Grandma said when she heard the news of Victor's birth mother's death, she fainted. She was hospitalized for half a month. During that half-month, her and Grandpa's hair turned white. Later, they wanted to bring Victor back, but whenever Grandma saw him, she was reminded of her daughter who died in childbirth, and her heart couldn't bear it. Moreover, at that time, Teresa was already accustomed to caring for Victor. If she left, Victor would cry inconsolably. Coupled with Richard refusing to hand over custody and the law not supporting giving a child to grandparents when the father was still healthy, they had no choice but to watch their daughter's child call another woman mother. Later, they moved abroad and basically lost contact. Only Uncle Ben occasionally returned to the country and specifically visited Victor. But because Richard said Victor's personality was sensitive, fearing he would be sad if he knew his biological mother died in childbirth, he never mentioned these things. Who knew those people were all beasts, letting my child suffer for so many years? Grandma wiped her tears again. Victor forced a smile. It's okay, Grandma, I didn't suffer much. Exactly, Grandma, he's very sweet. I gave Victor a knowing look. His ears turned red again. This guy was truly interesting. The legal team worked very quickly. Victor suddenly became a wealthy man with hundreds of millions in assets. Although not as rich as me, at least I didn't need to buy him cutting-edge phones anymore. For a moment, I felt a little empty. After all, there's an old saying, regret sending husband to seek fame, and a modern saying, men with money change. Wife, you haven't transferred my monthly allowance to me yet. Victor rubbed against me again like a milk puppy. You have so much money now, and you still want pocket money from me? I glared at him. Victor immediately straightened up. Didn't Mr. Lee tell you? I just told him to transfer all the assets under my name to you, and I even signed an unconditional gift agreement. So now I don't have a single cent. I can only rely on you to support me. Is that so? Take this and spend it. I took an unlimited supplementary card from a drawer and handed it to him, actually having prepared it long ago. Thank you, wife, you're so good to me, Victor pounced. This time it was his turn to bite me. Ah, he really is a dog at heart,